Well, it is harvest season, and we're going to talk more about farming in Putnam County. We've got Commissioner John Schlumbaugh with us today, and thanks for joining us, John.
Sure. Happy to be here.
All right, so you were saying that you grew up on the farm. Things have changed, but I'm sure there are some basic things still about farming in Putnam County that kind of stay the same, don't they?
Well, I can say the only thing basic about the tractors of yesterday and the tractors today, they've got 4 tires and a steering wheel. That's about the only similarity between the tractors. As far as the basics of farming, they really probably haven't changed. The stewardship of the land, I'm sure, has improved greatly. We used to do what we called mow-board plowing, which exposed the ground to the winter elements, and we had a ton of erosion from wind and rain and all that kind of stuff. And that has all changed. Farmers are much more conscious of the quality of their soil. The way fertilizer is put on, it's metered on as necessary. Back in the day, it was the more fertilizer, the better production. Fertilizer was cheap. It is not cheap anymore. And it's just the whole process has really, really improved, and it had to. The farm prices compared to the production cost, really that hasn't changed a whole lot. Farmers still aren't getting rich. They're making a living. But, I can remember my dad complaining about getting 99 cents a bushel for corn. So that's been a few years ago.
Yeah, really. But still, Putnam County farming is a pretty big industry, a pretty big part of your culture, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Farming is our biggest employer, our biggest industry. There's just a ton of large farms around now. We farmed 210 acres back when I was a kid, and that was a pretty decent farm. The livestock thing has changed. Typically, either you're a grain farmer or you're a livestock farmer. There's not a whole lot there's some that share the practice, but it's become more of a factory production, I'll call it. I don't like that word, but that's kind of what it's called.
Right. Well, it is harvest time, and we were talking about tractors, and we'll see more on the road. So you have some safety tips because you need to be careful when you're out there.
Yeah. Yeah, give them a little space. They've got some big equipment. For the most part, they're kind of in a hurry to get from one field to the other to get it out before that next rain. I got to say, we've had really, really good weather this fall for harvest, but they've got some mighty big equipment that they're trying to get down the road. So be patient, give them some time. They don't want to take that mailbox off when you won't get over for them. So let's work with them.
Right, yeah, and you can be impatient because they might be a little slower, but I find, lots of times they pull over when they see that they're backing up traffic and stuff, so it's one of those give and take, work together with them.
That's right, yep. Don't try to run them off the road just because you're mad.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, you got to be careful because it gets darker sooner and that kind of thing, and I'm sure they're seeing, deer running through and stuff like that, so there's a lot of safety concerns for both sides, not only farmers but non-farmers too.
That's right, yeah. We don't want to have any accidents, either the car drivers or the tractor drivers. It's a thing that you got to work together on.
Certainly is. Are you hearing good things, or is it too early to hear from farmers like they think the harvest is going to be pretty good?
Yeah, I've heard from both the grain farmers and tomato farmers. It's a good year. It's a very good year. As usual, farmers are pretty tight-lipped. They're not going to tell you what their actual yields are. They like to kind of keep that to themselves for the most part. But it's been a very good year. I know for the tomato farmers, I did talk to one farmer, and he said they're going to have to leave quite a few acres lay because they contract by the tonnage. So once they get their tonnage of contracted tomatoes filled, it's a crapshoot whether they're going to be able to find somebody to take the rest of those tomatoes or not, or whether they're just going to have to disc them in.
Right, yeah. Well, it sounds like Putnam County farming is going well this year. Thanks, John, for joining us.
Yes. Sure. Thank you for having it.
All right, don't go away. New Edition continues in a moment.